Hello, welcome to the House of the Spirit. Welcome home. Today we're going to have a reading about the nodes of the moon. They have shifted and they are now entering Pisces and Virgo. So North Node will be in Pisces and South Node will be in Virgo. This is very interesting, and it's a shift that I have felt first, and then I explored the astrology to know what was happening, and I immediately identified that it was this shift, this specific shift. And it's interesting because they are points. They are not like the other planets. They are fixed points and they do not have aspects with other planets. They just either are on top of them or they just influence the house and the sign of the house where they are in. So I would very much enjoy exploring this with you. So we all know, I think, that the nodes are associated with the dragon. And if you don't know, this is something that is a very particular energy of the nodes. So the head of the dragon would be the north node, and the tail of the dragon would be the south node. And it's also interesting that they are polarities. They can have a positive and negative charge to them. So the positive would be the north node, although it can be a little bit wobbly. It can be kind of an inconsistent or hard to pin energy, hard to pin down. And the south node it can be more of a malefic energy. It can be more like disintegrating, or it can be more like imprisoning also, like stuck energy. So, although usually it's kind of tricky to just consider things as just good and bad, black and white, I would encourage you to use this definition just for today and just for the sake of this reading, maybe. So, I have chosen 4 dragons. So each one of them is associated with an element. So we have the earth dragon, air dragon, water dragon, and fire dragon. And each one of them has 3 signs. I have chosen them randomly. They're not specific to the elements of the signs. And because I wanted to have another layer of the reading. So if you want to associate your zodiac sign's element with the specific dragon of the element, you can also do that. It's up to you and your intuition to choose. So in the first pile, we're having the sign of Libra, Cancer, and Aquarius. And your dragon is the Earth dragon. In the second pile, we have Pisces, Sagittarius, Virgo, and we have the air dragon. In the third pile, we have Gemini, Scorpio, and Capricorn. And this is the water dragon. Fourth pile, we have Aries, Leo, and Taurus. And this is the fire dragon. I will give you a moment for you to choose your pile, choosing a dragon, your zodiac sign or just your intuition. I will see you in your reading. Pile number 1, your dragon is the Earth Dragon. Because of the nodes and the symbols and the nodes, they represent the tail and the head. I will consider the head and the tail of the dragons and their position and the drawing, that what inspires me. And the tail of this dragon is touching a treasure, and the head, he looks very much pleased and at peace. He's guarding the treasure, but he seems like he's enjoying it also, like he's happy about it, like it's enough. So I would say that this shift for you might bring this into question. So where do you come from? And what can you use from your past that is precious, that you can enjoy? It might also be a suggestion for you to enjoy the good things that come from your family history, from a certain legacy. And because you enjoy it, you will possibly create something very precious of your own. There's something here about being grateful and pleased with what you have and very appreciative of what you have. Okay, so what does this shift of the nodes of the moon have for pile number 1? And, okay. Let's start with the fairies. We have Titan the Sylph. I think I'll put, it's like a story. I'm feeling like it's a story. The Bright Mother. Let me just cover this card. Okay, so Titan the Sylph, Bright Mother, Oh That Gnome, and the Bodacious Bodak. Maybe the direction where you're looking at is very important also. He's so clearly looking back at what happened, looking back at the ideas, at the changes that went. So much has changed. To be aware of how things have changed is also a part of that treasure. Managing a lot of abundance. She's also looking back. And Oh That Gnome is about trying things differently. I feel like there's this improvisation, spontaneity. But the wobbly part, because the head of the north node, the head of the nodes, so north node, the head of the dragon, sorry, is the wobbly energy. It's not very fixed. So if you can imagine like a tail wobbling and possibly going through a lot of ideas, different concepts, and some of them are good and some of them are like traps. They're like bait for something, and you're not supposed to bite. That's how I'm interpreting this. I'm seeing a lot of images. Enthusiasm goes very well with Titan the Sylph. has a very electrical energy to her. It's a lot of mental energy, it's rationality, it's having ideas, having a lot of ideas possibly. Charity. You have a lot, I feel like you have a lot to manage. There's a lot on your plate, and that might be something that is changing when this shift happens, because maybe you'll be kind of separating the wheat from the chaff, because maybe there's some ways of doing things or ideas that are not really well grounded yet. And inheritance, once again, you really have this energy of managing things from the past. So managing property, real estate, some sort of belonging, some sort of like a right to ownership or something from the past. And I feel like the anchor of the South Node is very, very, very strong, and it's like hard, because the anchor of the South is so strong. It can have more of a negative effect than it was supposed to, or than it. If you explore it to the max, you can have at least the least damage done from that. I also feel like this energy of unresolved issues and things that you have to take care of, because they might trick you into becoming stuck in that South Node energy, in that more stuck, more imprisoned, like in a maze, trapped in a maze. Organization. I feel like you maybe you'll be offered something from an organization, and you have to be careful, because you will want help with what you have to manage, whatever it is, but you don't want to give away your rights to that organization. You want to have control. You want to have the ability to choose, the freedom to choose. Okay. It's like the idea has to be yours. You can't allow them to steal your ideas. So that might be also something that can happen. Okay. So let's see the tail of this dragon. The Queen of Bows with hair. The Eight of Cups with rebirth. The Five of Cups with ecstasy, or Five of Vessels. The Sun of Life. The Ace of Cups. Yeah, I feel like you have to make sure that when you are preparing yourself to get into an agreement or get help from some organization or group of people or entity, that you are not bringing problems from the past with you, that you can use only the best ideas, only the very best. And in order for that to happen, I think that you have to own up to something. You have to clear some sort of debris, and It's not only a misuse of your resources, but it's more like someone is using your resources, is taking something away from you. There's this sense of loss here. It's like there's a leak here with the Five of Cups. And it seems like this node shift is about what is driving you. There's something that makes you into a very driven person. It turns you into this very forward motion and excited state. And I'm feeling like you have to start over. You have to start from the beginning. You have to be careful with the past so that it doesn't kind of taint. Maybe you agree to something, or there's some sort of paperwork, or there's a legal framework that is hindering your movement forward, and you need to go into the details. And I think that there's an organization that will help you with that. Wow, 10 of Cups. Yeah. And I think that once you solve this problem, that you will be very, very content. You will be able to be in this state of enjoyment, of pure enjoyment. And yeah, it's possibly also something that is it's like you'll be seen by this organization. You'll be considered as an asset to them, but first you will have to check carefully the past, that you don't have any issues moving forward, that there's no way, there's no like sabotage here. But let me just clarify the bodacious bodak. The blasted oak. Something is very sudden here. I just see a sudden shift. I don't understand what it is yet. 8 of Arrows with struggle. Okay. So it's really something that you have to clarify. I feel like you're having to really separate the wheat from the chaff here. You're coming from the right place. I feel like this node shift is also kind of syncing your energies with a very there's a prosperity, there's an abundance here that is coming from a very good place. So it's like exposing the root system of something and seeing how healthy it is. Like, it's very good. But there are some things attached to it. There are like roots from another plant or from another or something other that needs to be cleansed. It's like you need to remove the little dirts or like fungi or And then what? Okay. Spark of life. The Ace of Bows. This is the Ace of Wands. So this is starting to use your energy without, to me, it's starting to use your energy without any leaks. Owning your energy again fully. So making sure that there are no loose ends, there are no unfinished business. There's no unfinished business that can hurt you in the future. Clearing up every detail. It's also very Virgo energy here. This very detailed way of treating things. So there's a feminine touch here also with the Bright Mother that might be needed, and maybe it's better if you can get the help of a person who has a feminine energy, or that can have that subtlety, that attention to detail, very delicate grasp on things. It's better that way. It will probably clean up the mess in a very elegant way. Sorry, elegant way, so that this saboteur, this meddler, can't really have a grasp on anything that can hurt your project or your energy. So this can also be talking about emotional clutter, mental clutter that you need to clear so that you can enjoy the fruits of the past. Because this, to me, this is all about legacy that and inheritance, something that was before your efforts even. And it's like you have this responsibility to be a symbol or the representation, someone who represents an inheritance, a background of sorts, almost like nobility or aristocratic. There's something kind of aristocratic about this. And in order for you to fully embody that nobility, you have to clear up the clutter first with a feminine touch. Wow. Knight of Arrows. Just one more. And the Mirror. This is the Hangman. And to me, these two combined here are telling me that someone is watching you. It's like there's a lot to be gained, but there's also a kind of a risk. It's a risk that you're taking, and you're possibly going to be in the eye of the public. There's going to be kind of a public scrutiny, possibly. Because the mirror to me is also like looking yourself in the mirror, and the mirror going to the other side of the mirror also, into another realm, into another world, discovering this 10 of Cups into, if you go into that otherworldly environment. And in that state, in that place, there are eyes on you. The hawk has the best eyes, right? It's like the eagle and the hawk. They have the best eyes for hunting. So I feel like you'll be on the spotlight. You'll be in the spotlight, sorry. And maybe this is also why there's this energy like of sabotage, of meddling, because the spotlight sometimes is something that attracts a lot of people. It's like the moth to the flame, right? But the fact that you have this kind of right to that spotlight, it doesn't mean that, one, there aren't people who want to meddle with it, and two, that you don't have to make an effort to clean up the mess. And as long as you clean up the mess, you will instantly be very unattractive to certain kinds of energies, negative energies. meddling energies, because they won't have anything to point out, or there's nothing to ruin if everything is in the right place, if everything is correct. So very methodical energy, very feminine, a feminine touch. Very, very important to, it's very important to have that feminine touch. I'm sorry, the words are kind of jumbled, and I'm trying to be precise because that's the energy that I feel like you have to have a precision also in your language, to choose your words, to write down only the words that you are sure of, and to have somewhat of a feminine approach, or more detailed, more delicate grasp on this subject, so that you can manage this great abundance that I think that you bring with you, either from another lifetime, from family, or from your past efforts. I feel like it's something that's not from just your efforts alone. It's just maintaining a certain beauty, like preserving something, conserving the way that it's naturally beautiful. Very interesting energy. I feel like there's a more Virgo energy here than specifically Pisces, although we have the 10 of Cups that has this very watery, and also the Hangman that's kind of Piscean, also this release of energy, like a spiritual, seeing things also from a spiritual lens. And oh, that's another thing that I got here, is that if you move through this wisely and carefully, and with, you know, this delicate feminine touch and approach, there's also some sort of spiritual energy, some sort of release of a spiritual energy that maybe has been burdening you in a way. It's like having the correct representation of who you are, embodying this spiritual energy by shedding the useless clutter. I could be here all day. Very beautiful reading. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hope to see you again very soon. Bye-bye. Pile number 2, your card is the Air Dragon. And the Air Dragon is about visions, inspiration, having this, also this vitality, this mental energy. So new ideas, original ideas, things that are sudden, also very quick. The air energy, the air element is very quick. So this is a fast moving energy, and it needs grounding also. It's interesting that the tail of the dragon is touching the wall. And as I was saying in pile number 1, I will be considering the tail and the head of the dragon as the south node and the north node. So, the eyes of this dragon have this very sharp feeling to them. So I feel like there's this need for focus here. And as the energy of the south node is more stuck, and the energy of the head is a little bit more wobbly, I think this calls to the need of having a very focused approach. Although you might be wobbling, never losing track of where you are looking at and of your objectives. So having a very clear mind about your objectives, a very clear rationale, and it's almost even the philosophical underpinnings of your vision of the way you see the world might be changing, and they need to be very focused. There's this need to be laser focused here. And I feel like in this specific pile, the south node's stuck energy might be the weakest. So there's this pull towards the more positive energies of the nodes of the moon. So the positive being the head of the dragon. I feel like the energy of the tail is much weaker in this pile. So the past, what comes from before your life, even like your family inheritance or your spiritual lineage, might not be so burdensome as it was in pile number 1, for instance. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think this reading is going to be different from pile number 1. I'm just going with the flow here. Oh, but the first card is Titan the Sylph. It was also the first card the first card in pile number 1. But I feel like there's a different story here. Titan the Sylph is very much in tune with the energy of the air dragon. She's very electrifying. She has ideas, new ideas, and new stories to tell. It has this unconventionality to her also. There's this There's also a little bit of the instability of the mind and the need for groundedness, maybe, to test your ideas. Oh, no way. I shuffled the cards. How can this be? I'm just going with it. The Bright Mother was also the second card to come out in pile number 1. So maybe it's important for you to see it. I don't know. Ecstasies. Protection with the moon in Aries. Restlessness. Yeah, that's what I was feeling. There's this need for focus and achievement. Focus on your objective. The target. Keep your target very clear. Ecstasis is also about achieving, is also about motivating, a motivation, a very clear motive for doing things. I think I'm going to have to change things up a little bit because, yeah, I'm feeling like this story is completely different from pile number 1, although there are some cards here that came out also. Okay, let's see. Oh, I think I'll get another, like an extra card for you. So what is this target? What is this focus, this achievement, this motivation for pile number 2? False person. Getting to the truth of something, maybe? Protecting yourself from... Oh, understanding also the motivations of someone towards you. or even discovering what are your own motivations so that you can't kind of falsify the result of something, because the air dragon really begs for grounding, begs for like proving, testing your ideas, proving them right. So maybe you need to kind of make sure that you tell the right people, though, because with protection here, and this lady is kind of shushing her babies, like, keep this a secret and don't make too much noise about it. So protect. Yeah, and what's also interesting is these are wolves actually, but you have also this tiger here. I feel like this is saying, like, don't give away your, don't show your cards just yet. Don't give away your ideas yet. Because I know, like, you're very excited and you want to, you're highly motivated. But if you share them with the right people, they will help you achieve. But if you are too restless and you are like, I want to just give it away right away, and you get a little bit carried away with this enthusiasm, your ideas are they're like genius. So protect them also. Be a little bit sly about it. Be wise about it. Don't give everything away. The Lovers, yeah, I feel like you're kind of wanting to share something with someone, and you're very enthusiastic about it. There's this restlessness that you need to calm down, maybe a little bit. It's too powerful. The Miser, yeah, protect it. Protect your treasure for now. It's just for now, because I feel like you are hitting your target. You're about to hit your target. You just need to kind of preserve the energy to protect your ideas. This is a very clear, very down-to-earth reading. Very precise. The Rebirth with the Ten of Swords. I feel like if you express your ideas right now to the wrong people, they will just think that they're not that special, and the energy will kind of fall to the wayside. It will kind of disappoint you also, and you might start questioning. But don't worry, because if it's out at the right time, it will be very, very impressive, and it will be a great achievement for you. Possibilities with the Two of Wands. I think that right now you're kind of exploring the possibilities, and you're wanting to test the waters and to vet your ideas with other people. But it's the same energy. You just need to choose the people with whom you share those ideas very wisely. It's just the same feeling that I get. Laziness with the Nine of Cups. Wow, and sharing with the Queen of Wands. You can relax now. Just don't speak too much. Don't say too much about what you're doing. Relax a little bit and let things flow until you're ready for your rebirth, until you're ready and you're supported. There's no way you can ruin this. Other people will ruin your energy and not the thing itself. But it's important that you protect your energy because the air is so fluid. It's just so, it changes so fast. So I feel like you need to ground. You need grounding. Delay. This is the Four of Swords. Maybe you're impatient. I really feel like you're impatient. It's like you see the results. You really want to move forward. You're very, very impatient. You know you're sitting on something very precious and you have something very that people will want. Wow. They will celebrate with you at the right time. So this reading is just so to the point and so simple. I don't even know what else I can say. So the change of this shift in the nodes, I feel like it's very natural in this specific pile. Oh, I also realized that you have Pisces and Virgo, which are the north node and south node. So maybe this is why I'm feeling like this very easygoing energy. So it's like even if the south node, which is considered like a more of malefic energy, not, it's not dramatic, it's nothing like fatal or something. It's just more stuck energy. It's not so, might not be so enjoyable. It might be to teach you some sort of control, some sort of restraint, understanding that restraint is also a part of the achieving. It's also a part of the movement forward, which is kind of a paradoxical position to be in. But to me, this reading is just very, very straight to the point, very straightforward, very simple. The message is very simple. At this specific time, and maybe during this node cycle, which is, I'm sorry, 18 months. This cycle, it will be easier for you if you relax more and observe more of your surroundings, analyze surroundings so that you are sharing your treasure with the right people, like vetting people. This is also something important for you right now in this cycle. Vetting people, understanding who is on your side, who is the true friend, and who is the person who will have this and this specific resource that you need to do whatever you want to do, and that can share with you and have this mutual understanding. And also, which are the people who can undermine your position, who can bring you down, also demotivate, like ruin your motivation, your drive. Because ecstasy is about motivation. It's about this feeling of ecstatic flow with life, of kind of living in a celebration mode, gratefulness, celebration. It's like being in love with life. So whatever removes you from this state of being in love with life, protect yourself, hide your treasure, don't show it yet. In due time, it will come out, and when it comes out, it will kind of be this kind of universal sharing. It won't need the approval of this specific person or that specific person. It will just be beautiful. It will just be the right time so that beauty and love can expand naturally without you making effort. It's just, it comes in natural. It's a second nature. So learning a little bit of restraint, specifically when talking to people who might not really appreciate what you have to give them. Choosing the right people at the right time will be the key here. So yeah, using that energy of restlessness to kind of nurture yourself more and not needing the approval of others also, because you will achieve, even if it seems like it's a very silent process until it gets really loud and it expands into something like a new world that you're creating. It's not for everyone. It's something that is like a seed that's sprouting in silence and in the dark and away from people who want to hurt it. I don't know what else to say because it's so simple, this message. So I feel like this cycle is all about the filtering of the people with whom you share your most beautiful, and loving aspects, your not only your true self, but also like the treasures you hold inside of you that you want to give to others also, like your love, your attention, your art maybe, or like a product that you work on with a lot of love and care, something that you do. I'm also sensing like people doing things with their hands, or maybe creating their own songs and creating something that's so sweet and beautiful, that is about being grateful for life, being in love with life, celebrating life. And it's not an energy that is sometimes very well received by people who are not just really in that same wavelength, let's say. And so really understanding who are those people that you need to keep close to your heart, and who are the people who need to be more on the outside of that fence. There's this filtering process here. Beautiful reading. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hope to see you again very soon. Bye. Pile number 3. Your card is the Water Dragon. So, I've been considering the North and the South node as the head and the tail. So, if the tail is the South node here, it is mostly underwater. So I think that for you, pile number 3, this specific cycle of the North Node's positions, it's going to probably bring a lot of stuff that is hidden or that is in your subconscious. I would say a lot of emotional mysteries even might be solved during this 18-month cycle. There's movement here, and the waters are not exactly calm. I feel like there's a little bit of a turbulence in your emotional state. There's a lot that's coming to the surface, and I think that it might make you change course. It might change your objectives, even the way you see yourself, the way you see your own happiness, the way you feel, how you feel about your objectives, how you feel about the direction that life has been taking. Okay. Let's see what else comes up for pile number 3. I feel like there's a lot of much more mysterious energy than the previous piles here. So this is going to be interesting. I'm going to see right away. Elias the Moon's daughter. Maybe here. death. So this change, something changes. The soul shrinker, there you go. The soul shrinker is also about gossip and people talking about around your back. So maybe these are the secrets and mysteries that are coming to the surface. The influence they have. Iris of the rainbows. It's the calm before, it's not the calm before a storm. It's seeing the end, almost the end of the storm. So being in the storm, but already seeing the rainbow. It's the end of the stormy season. Seeing the end of the storm. Very interesting. It's a very powerful change during these next 18 months for you. And I think it's something that is going to affect your emotional life, your relationships possibly, your love life, your intimate connections. So we have health with the sun in Virgo. Resourcefulness with the sun in Cancer. Practicality with the moon in Capricorn. And submission with Mercury in Pisces. So we have Virgo and Pisces here. Health and submission. There's something here about being freed, because you can see the bird is in the cage, but it's because he wants to. There's also this humbleness here with the practicality and the submission that I feel, because you have this fish, like they look like sardines. Sardines are very humble food, very wholesome and good for your health, but very humble, small. Okay. I think that you're also maybe getting access to resources that you are just going to discover. You're going to gain access to resources. Maybe this is also the change that's happening. Wow, death. A lot of changes during this cycle. You're going to experience a lot of change. Justice. It's very good. It's very positive. Queen of Cups. And she has all these tiny babies here. They're very sweet looking. She's very motherly. I feel like this sense of hope in the future, this sense of being guided, like seeing the rainbow and being guided by that rainbow, having that colorful future that's waiting for you. Let me just clarify this soul shrinker here. Okay. Six of Cups, some sort of memory. That's why I'm this subconscious there's a memory coming to the surface. There's a truth about a memory, maybe. Nine of Wands. It's something that you've been carrying, or someone has been carrying like a secret, and they want to share it with you, or you are going to be made aware of it. And it also contains a resource that you're now going to have access to. But everything in this reading has this aura of mystery to me. There's this sort of a puzzle or a mystery that you have to solve, like a riddle. It's like asking the right question. Ask the right questions. Search for the truth. Don't let your feelings take away from your quest for the truth. Take you away from your quest for the truth, sorry. The Page of Cups. And the King of Pentacles. It's something that will make you, it will empower you somehow. It's it is a truth, a mystery that is going to be solved, and a truth that is going to be recovered from the past, that is going to empower you. But can we know like the theme of this discovery? What is it? Are we supposed to know? Or Temperance. Again with the rainbows. And the Queen of Pentacles. I get it. Okay. So, it's like seeing things in color, or like a person showing their true colors. Someone shows you their true colors. It's like it's more complex than you thought. It's more nuanced. There's more to know. There's a lot to unpack here. And understanding that person depends on you having the space in yourself and allowing yourself to also know yourself. Giving you that, cutting that slack. So giving yourself the freedom to know yourself. You also give the space. That's how you also give the space and the freedom for the other person to express his or herself. There's it's like there's a lot to know. There's a lot to understand. And you need to have this more, this down-to-earth, grounded approach. You have a lot of Queen and King of Pentacles. There's a relationship dynamic here that needs groundedness, that is all about groundedness and understanding where the other person is coming from on an emotional level. So I really think that for you, the emotional dimension of life is going to probably take center stage in this time period. or there's going to be a very like a climatic event of sorts, like it being truth bombed, like having this reality check, this awareness, sudden awareness of the truth about someone and also yourself. You might have to take some time off to repair, to rest, to kind of clear your like your psychic debris, clear your mind. 10 of Wands, yeah. 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands. You really need to take the time to clear, the I'm hearing like the damage, to heal from the damage that has been done. The 2 of Wands. The King of Wands. There's a lot of wands here. I'm hearing like clearing the debris, the psychic debris, so that you are pleasant to be around with, so that people are magnetically attracted to you naturally, and yet and that you don't need to make some sort of emotional effort. So being in a more natural, relaxed, spontaneous, choosing the right words, something about choosing the right words. And how will this kind of riddle or mystery present itself? The 4 of Pentacles. I think it's still very much a mystery, and it's hiding. There's something hiding. So this time period for you is all about the mysterious part of your life, exploring the unknown, exploring this more I'm seeing like a very dark place, but I'm feeling at home in it. I'm not really afraid or scared. I'm just kind of feeling my way through this space and learning to use your other senses to understand people, or understand a relationship, understand what's happening in a situation. And because you're using your other senses, you will also actually see the truth. It's like seeing the colors, but in your mind's eye, seeing everything very bright and very clearly in your mind's eye. So this might also be another layer of the reading that's also inviting you into meditation, into some sort of practice that is training your inner sight, your own inner vision. So I feel like this is also important to consider as you approach your psychic health, psychological health also, how you use and direct your psychic energy. Maybe this is also a time when you are going to have your psychic abilities heightened. There's an exaltation in that area. I feel like you are going to see much more clearly if you consider the mysteries of life and what is hidden in the shadows, let's say. So, is there any more advice? Can we have, maybe I will just get a bit different. We have purge with healing, work, cleansing, focus, priority. So I think that this is a time for healing your energy and your emotional body. Your psychic abilities might also be heightened, so they might be one of the main tools that you can use to guide you through this process of understanding your emotions and healing your emotions, healing relationships, navigating this kind of stormy weather where you might encounter certain truths and certain secrets that might be harsh or unpleasant, and or maybe the nature of people will kind of show itself in a more unpleasant way sometimes, and it might be hurtful at times, but in the in general it's a blessing because it's healing you. So although it might be a little bit uncomfortable in your emotional, it's kind of there's certain emotional turmoil maybe going on. It's a part of the healing process, and it's very important that you have this very good grasp of your own emotions and how to heal them, how to develop techniques also. There's a very practical approach here, and maybe with submission here I also see you using techniques that are connected to specific traditions, spiritual traditions maybe, that can be very, very helpful. There's healing work to be done, like you can use Reiki, you can use yoga, you can use or like the food, Ayurveda, or maybe like Chinese medicine, whatever is your specific tradition, and how you can empower the ways to empower yourself using the whole of your body. So also your mind, also how you think, your mindset, how you manage your body while you are processing emotions, because emotions run through our body. We need to live them, because if we don't let them flow, they will be stuck in our body, and they even might create discomforts or diseases and illness that we have to then address. And I think that it will be, there's nothing like health-wise that I'm seeing that's really bad. I think that you will have every resource to face whatever changes are on the horizon for you, especially in relationships or in your emotional life, intimate relationships or family relationships. So it might be a little bit rough, but it's I think it's going to get easier with time. So the more you practice, the easier it will get. And there's there's a need for mastery here, mastery of great energies. And it's also interesting that what I'm seeing here is that the energies are very uncomfortable, and they are just as rough as your expertise. So God will never give you something that you can't endure. Whenever we start facing something, it's because there's the place where we need to grow and develop the skills to be healed. So yeah, this is a very healing energy. I feel like there's this more, so even working with the Piscean energy and the Virgo energy, Virgo is very much associated with health, and here we have the sun in Virgo. And but Pisces is also, to me, associated with health, because Pisces is associated with spiritual work. So if you work on the spiritual mysteries that guide your life, the more uncomfortable, unconscious forces that might be below the surface and influencing your emotions and your psychic state, the more you approach this with a healer's mindset, the more productive and the more powerful you will be, and the easier and more intuitive it will become. It's like being trained in a healing tradition because you are healing yourself, using also that knowledge on yourself. If you are now, starting a training in some sort of tradition. Beautiful reading. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hope to see you again very soon. Bye. Pile number 4. Your card is the Fire Dragon. And the Fire Dragon is about mastery. It's about the mastery of energy. So like the transmutation of energy, I am reminded also of Kundalini energy. And when I'm considering the nodes in relation to the dragons, I consider the tail of the dragon as the south node and the head of the dragon as the north node. And in this specific card, the tail of the fire dragon is not completely visible. It seems to be a little bit shorter than in the other drawings, which is interesting. It's like having a short fuse, maybe? And the head is completely on fire. It seems like the dragon just spit some fire here and he's looking at us. His mouth is open, so it's like he's either talking or expressing something. We also have this Celtic necklace that was a symbol of power. There's also this very stark contrast between the fire, the light of the fire, and this very dark smoke. Okay, let's see what else comes up. Okay, so let's get some cards to see what is this new season about for you, this new North Node season, North and South Node, 18 months period. Okay, the Dark Lady. I have to cover the cards, sorry. Okay. Next we have Tabara of the Waters and Indy. Okay. What else do we have for pile number 4? This card just popped out, so I'm going to use it. Versatility with the Sun in Gemini. Convention with Venus in Capricorn. Resistance with Mercury in Taurus. It's very different energies. Risk with Saturn in Aries. inspiration with Mercury in Pisces, and resourcefulness with the Sun in Cancer. Interesting, because risk and convention seem to be kind of the opposite of each other, and also versatility and resistance. So maybe there's this push and pull. It's kind of blocking you from action. There's something that needs to push you forward. Something needs to come up to push you forward. Okay. I see that this time period, and I think I'm speaking to people who might be into some sort of ritual practice, possibly working with water too, but not necessarily. Or with the body. There's something also very feminine about that practice. So I am really sensing something some of you that work with the moon cycles, that have a lot of wisdom working with the moon, that do ritual with the moon, get a lot of inspiration and insights by meditating with the moon. And maybe I feel like you are getting contradictory messages. Possibly you're getting, I don't know if this is the case for you, but maybe you are like watching a lot of tarot videos, or consulting different people that have some spiritual insight or some sort of wisdom to impart with you. But I feel like there's something about the way you are doing it that's kind of giving you mixed results, or feedback that can be a little bit contradictory. And I think that maybe you have to get inspiration from different sources. Resource is one thing, but source and resourcing, so reevaluating the source or going to different sources. And maybe this is why the tail is not showing itself, because maybe the source, so the place where you're going from, the truths that you are assuming that are the principles of your practice. So maybe you have to get different sources, different source material for something that you are working on. So maybe imagine that you're working with some sort of medicine, or like herbal medicine, or doing like tinctures or some sort of concoction with that you use water or some sort of liquid. Maybe you have to source your materials very wisely. You have to get the best sources, because I think that is changing the result. And it's not wrong, it's just confusing. I feel like you're putting ingredients that might confuse each other or cancel each other out. And this might also be a metaphor for something else that is happening in your life. But I am seeing someone who works with ritual, who works with the moon. Let's see what else. Okay. Or with the female cycles, feminine cycles, female cycles. If it is, I'm also seeing this is very interesting. I'm also seeing someone who works with animals, like a vet, or someone who works with like healing and using animals for healing. It can also be that you source your material from animal origin as well as plant origin, because there's this need to balance the ingredients. Like using honey or using some sort of like a specific type of textile, or I'm just having so many images in my mind, in my mind's eye. I see you like going through materials, going through source materials. The King of Swords, Death card, and the Five of Cups. I think that something didn't really work as you were planning. There's planning, there's the execution, and the result is not up to par. It's not what you wanted. Working with animals again. The Hierophant, working with natural resources, things you get from nature, either spirit or material, like raw materials. Once again, sourcing your materials. If it's a spiritual practice, because the Hierophant is also about spirituality, of course, it's sourcing your materials wisely. So if you're studying a book, make sure that you are getting the correct translation. If it's a translated work, making sure that the researcher did the good job and they have a good track record, that they're reputed, or go to the source. I'm always getting this go to the source and work with the source directly also. So maybe you're getting mixed, kind of contradictory results, because maybe you have to put yourself as a source, as a resource, instead of relying so much in foreign ingredients, let's say, in ingredients that like suggestions and things that already come kind of digested by others, and they're not your own thoughts. Knight of Pentacles, Nine of Swords. Yeah, I feel like this really harsh judgment of the results, and being very disappointed because they're not working as, something is not working as you thought it would, or as you wanted. Let's get something about these resources. The Ace of Cups. So either you have to meet someone new, or you have to discover something completely new, like a very different solution from what you are doing right now, or it's more about you than you realize. It's much more about you, how you feel, how is your cup before it's full, before it gets filled. The Ace of Swords. Once again, there's something that you have to discover more on your own, maybe. Trusting more in yourself, more in your own inner resources. 10 of Swords. There's a lot of swords here. Let me just clarify why. The Moon. I think you're afraid to see something. Maybe it's too dark. Maybe there's something about your past or about your feelings that's too dark that you don't, it's like I don't want to go there. It's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing like, no, it's too dark. It's like dark smoke. But the dark smoke is here because there's the fire. So you have to go through the smoke to get to the fire, to get to the light. And maybe it's hard for you to go through that darkness, but there's a very precious treasure there. There's something that you need to go to the source of. You need to go to the place where the fire is. And I'm sorry if you're in the US and you are somehow affected by fires. I know that there's a lot going on, and I hope that this is not triggering in any way, because I think that this is just a metaphor. This is not a literal thing, reading, but because it's been on our minds and in our media so much, I feel like instantly when I saw this smoke and fire, I thought of that, the landscapes that we saw and the images, because we also have this very kind of torrid and barren, desolated landscape. I do think that this is a metaphor, so I just wanted to make sure that it doesn't trigger you like it's something quite like literal, okay? So it's like you're afraid to see something. I'm also hearing that maybe you need to explore more about your spiritual lineage and your spiritual legacy, inheritance, because maybe you have things that are still not being processed in your spiritual essence, in your, how do I say this? It's like there are there are a lot of spiritual layers, and maybe you need to choose a different layer that kind of appeals to a different spiritual lineage, because I think that all the peoples of the world have their own kind of song, or have their own spiritual instrument, let's say, that constitutes this orchestra that completes the world, that completes the human vision, the human experience of being born in this body, this human body, and being a part of this brotherhood and sisterhood. So maybe you need to investigate a different tradition. Can we have some hints about what it might be? Wow. Page of Cups. Again, I'm seeing the animals. I don't know, something about animal spirits, or something about how a specific people or tradition views animals as a part of the spiritual development of man or woman also. The Page of Cups. The innocence of animals is very healing for you right now. So I feel like working with animal spirits or with a tradition that has a lot of knowledge or a different knowledge of the animal kingdom might be something very interesting for you, so that you work with these fears so that you can have the right protection to face whatever you need to face. Can we have more information on these fears and how to... Six of Wands. And Two of Cups. To me, the answer is quite obvious, that it has to do with something related to children. It might not be your childhood specifically, but something related to children, and it's something that affects your relationships. And it's maybe you want to have children, and it's something that you need to face, because there's a lot of fear surrounding childbearing and child rearing. There's a lot, it's so much to unpack there. There's, we have a saying here that I feel like it's very poignant, although it might feel negative. It's actually quite humorous and comical if you see it in the right angle. And we say, when a mother is born, guilt is born. So the moment a woman becomes a mother or a parent, like a father becomes a man becomes a father, I feel like there's this instant overwhelming responsibility, and you feel guilty for everything. It's very easy to carry that around, and to, even if you don't have children, to kind of fear that and see, because you see that in other people. And this is a very specific take. I am just leaving it there for those of you who might find this helpful or kind of comical in a tragic way, because this is a part of our human experience here. It's a part of our nature, and it's something that each one of us lives and experiences in such a different way. There are so many flavors to this. It doesn't need to be like fatalistic or too over dramatic. It's just a part of who we are, and there's something there, something about children. It can be your own childhood, it can be something in your childhood that you need to address. And if you are working with ritual and with a spiritual tradition to help you with this, maybe you need to discover a different source of spirit that can help you with the harsher energies that maybe you are facing. I'm also tempted to say that while you were doing something, some sort of spiritual work, something might have triggered this. And now you're kind of like, okay, the window is open, and I am afraid to go there and see what's there. So maybe having a good guide, a good teacher, or someone to help you with the processing of the emotions that are going to be shown to you. They're going to be presented to you. Wow, now I got a different insight here. So for some of you, this is completely different from what I said before. But for some of you, you might think that someone isn't interested in you, and that person is interested in you, but you're kind of afraid to open that avenue, to explore that avenue, because maybe it's scary. Maybe you know that it's going to be very strong. Maybe the bond is spiritual bond is already very, very strong, and it's kind of scaring you because you know that once you open that floodgate, it's going to awaken something in you that you might not be able to control. And you're kind of wanting to be on the fence about it before you commit, before you feel like you can go to the core of it. So this is a very different layer of the reading, completely different. And maybe it was also something that you had awakened with your own ritual practice, because maybe you were trying to manifest a partnership, you were praying for a partnership, and spirit has answered, and it's a very clear answer. It's kind of maybe very dramatic, maybe very overwhelming, because this dragon is really harsh. The energy is like black smoke and pure spirit. So it's like the black smoke is very hard for us to breathe. And then the spirit is also very hard for us to contain. It burns us. It's so powerful. We can't really contain it. So it's just power, raw power. So we need to use it, transmuting it. We need to treat it with respect. And maybe you're realizing that you were like working with very powerful energies that you're not quite yet accustomed, and you're afraid. Many different aspects to this reading. I could be here all day. Very interesting. I think that I would say that you are a very powerful person. So whenever you apply your own spiritual power in ritual, be aware that you are going to make a very big impact, because you have this connection that's very strong. And it's like, be careful with what you wish for, because it might come true. So maybe that's the case for you, and you have to kind of face your own dreams and face something that might be on the verge of happening for you. And maybe it's a little bit scary for now. Beautiful reading. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I hope to see you again very soon. Bye.